What's up, guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be playing Magic Arena, which I have not yet played on the channel, but I started recently and I'm enjoying the heck out of it. So, for those of you that don't know, which should probably be everybody because I don't think I've said this on my channel, but I've played a lot of Magic in my day. I haven't played in a little bit seriously, but I have played a good little bit of Magic before. And so a lot of people were telling me in real life that I should download Arena, but I was like, I don't know, because I played Magic Online and I wasn't that big of a fan. But guys, Arena, I mean, I know I'm a little late to this, to this conclusion, but Arena is really, really good. I would recommend if anyone plays Magic to play Arena, and if you don't play Magic, well, you've come to the right video, because today we're going to be talking about how to play Magic. So I'm going to play a little practice match right here with a starter deck you get. I've modified a little bit, but the general theme is the same. Exactly what cards I have is not important. What is important is just really how to play Magic. So when playing Magic, I guess I'll go absolute fundamentals. There are 5 colors to Magic, right? White, blue, black, red, and green. And each color has essentially its own play style, and of course there are always exceptions to the rule, but for sake of simplicity I will exclude exceptions to the rule because Magic normally always has an exception to the rule. But we're gonna talk about generalities today, and not just, well, sometimes this happens and sometimes this doesn't. Okay. But each one has their own play style. I would heavily recommend trying out every color. And then, well, once you try out every color, you can actually try out color combinations. A deck can really have any colors or color combinations you want to be in it. Each one, kind of like each color, has its own identity. Every color combination kind of has its own identity. And of course, there are exceptions to the rule, and there are nuances in how every color plays. But essentially, you play a mono white deck, you kind of know what you're going to get. Same thing for mono black, mono blue, so on and so forth, I guess. But right now we're going to go over what to look for in an opening hand. So I'm going to assume that you've at least played through the tutorial. If you haven't, that should be fine. I should be able to just kind of go over everything with you. But let's just assume you have a semi-basic understanding of Magic. So in an opening hand, we draw 7 cards. And what we're looking for is land, which is right here for our mana, and then stuff to play. Now, on paper, this kind of looks like the perfect opening hand. We have 3 mana, and we have our highest spell in our curve is 3 mana right here. But, unfortunately, upon closer inspection, we don't really have anything to do. We don't really... I mean, I can play a turn 1 Healer's Hawk, that's okay, but I'm looking for a little bit more. So, just to take a little break here and go over what exactly I mean by, 3 mana and 1 mana and all this stuff. So, every land, yet again, generalities here, but every land produces mana. I believe every land produces mana, but there's probably land out there that doesn't. But all basic lands produce land. How about, all basic lands produce mana. How about that? So, right here, for every land that we have, essentially we have 1 mana. Now, you can only play you can only play 1 land at all per turn. But, so, let's say 3 turns in, we'll have 3 mana, right? No matter what we draw, we will have 3 mana on turn 3. And then right here, if we look at this creature right here, the Healer's Hawk, if we look at the top right, we see that little symbol that we see down here. It's a white mana symbol. So this card only costs 1 white mana to summon. And this card right here, so basically turn 1 we can play this. But if we come over to this card right here, it has that same white mana symbol, but it has a 2 and a little gray circle beside it. So, like I said earlier, in Magic, you can play any color combination you really want to. So what this means is that this costs 3 mana. So you add the 2 with the 1 white mana. So essentially what it means is two of the 3 mana can come from anything. But one of the 3 mana has to come from a white mana source, which is what our Plains is. So I'm going to go ahead and mulligan, not only for just teaching purposes, but because I'm not really a fan of this hand at all. So in Magic, unlike Pokemon, you can mulligan any hand that you want to. It's the only kind of downside is you draw 1 less card. So we're going to mulligan. I do like this better. Let me tell you why I like this better. So we can't play everything in our hand. In fact, we can only really play one thing in our hand. But we have much better resources. We have Arcane Encyclopedia, which is going to help us draw cards. We have Leonin War Leader, which is going to just really help us put presence on the board. And because we go second, because our opponent goes first, that means we actually get to draw a card. So I'm pretty happy with this. So we're going to keep it. Now, when
like a good spot for some practice.
When you keep a hand that you've mulliganed, you get to scry. So what scrying means is you look at the top card of your deck, basically the card we would be drawing, and we get to decide if we want to keep it on top of our deck or on the bottom. Now this card, because it's 5 mana, and I don't have 5 mana, and really, I mean, it'll help me win a little bit, but it's not that important. I'm going to actually put it on the bottom of my deck because I'm kind of hoping to draw a land. So, we put 1 scry. 0 top, 1 bottom. Okay, so she's going to play... Alright, I'm not really concerned with what she's going to do unless it helps to teach you guys something. I'm just going to go over what I'm doing. So, like I said, we can play 1 land per turn. So I played my Plains. I have nothing that costs just 1 mana, so we had to pass turn. So it's my second turn. Gonna play another land. So we have 2 mana here available to us. Now, to essentially get mana, quote unquote, we need to tap the mana source. In this case, it's our basic land. So I'm going to be playing Daybreak Chaplain, who is a 1/3 with lifelink. So this, I mean, it's not really much, but it's something. It's presence on the board, and we'll get into lifelink a little later. But for now, let's just go over how to cast this. So right now, I'm attempting to cast it. Essentially, I need 2 mana, 1 that can be anything, 1 Plains, or 1 white mana. So we tap 1. Okay, so now we only need 1 mana. Tap another. Tap another. There we go. Alright, so we played this creature. Now let's let her do her thing. Okay. Even more stuff to get into. That's fine. Okay, so let's say she wouldn't have done that. Let's talk about the most important thing to know as a beginner for creatures, which is the 2 numbers in the bottom right corner. They kind of look like a fraction. So what that means is it's your power on the left and toughness on the right. Essentially, how much damage you can deal versus how much damage you can take. So I can take 3 damage and I can deal 1 damage. Now, at the end of every single one of your turns, your damage will essentially reset. So here's an example. Say that someone had a 1/1 and I attack with this 1/3 and they block, right? My 1 damage would hit their 1 toughness, which would kill them. Their 1 power or 1 damage would hit my 3 toughness, which would leave me with 2 toughness, not killing me. But then as soon as I pass turn, my toughness actually just reverts back to 3. Essentially, any damage dealt in a round to a creature is null and void, essentially, after the turn is over. Now, this would be all fine and dandy But she played Luminous Bonds on me, which is an enchantment, so she enchanted my creature. An enchantment is essentially a spell you can play on another thing.
Whoa! Oh, sorry. Thought I
Alright.
saw something.
She's bugging out over here. Anyway, so enchant creature. So she enchanted mine. Enchanted creature can't attack or block. So you can see why you would want to attach your own creature with that. So we're going to play a Plains, and I'm going to play Arcane Encyclopedia. Now it just says 3, so it can actually be 3 mana of any color. Now because we're a mono white deck, we don't really have anything else that can tap for mana, so that's fine. But we could be playing this in any color deck. Now what this does is it allows me to, for 3 mana, and to tap it, draw a card. So tapping is essentially using the resource. That's kind of how you can think about it. So 3 mana, I'm going to pay 3. 1, 2, 3. It can be 3 mana of any color. And then I tap this to draw a card. Now, I was looking for a mana. We didn't get one. Kind of upsets me. Oh well. So they attacked for 3 damage. Remember, 3 over 2. So that's 3 power to 2 toughness. We did get a Plains though. So that's really good. I'm going to go ahead and do this. Now, we can go down here and just do a little quick pay system. In multicolored decks, it's a smart idea to sometimes tap mana yourself. But for this, it's not going to matter because all my land, or all my mana, is really the same. So, looking for another Plains, didn't get one. Have Take Vengeance, which is okay. What is this? A little 1/2 cat. Let that hit us. Okay. So we can play a Plains. And I'm going to go ahead and play Take Vengeance. So it's 2 mana. It's a sorcery. So a sorcery means that you can play it during your first main phase or second main phase, but not during any other time of the game. So we're going to go ahead and play it now. Destroy target tapped creature. Now, when you attack, you tap yourself. Remember, tapping is essentially using the resource. So using the resource of a creature is to essentially attack with it. So when you attack, you tap yourself. She tapped with it. I'm going to destroy target tapped creature. So we'll go ahead and pay that 2 mana. Destroy it. It is important to note a few things there. 1, you cannot attack the turn you summon a creature. Yet again, there are always exceptions to the rule, but for this tutorial, you cannot attack when you first summon a creature. A second thing to keep in mind is I talked about phases. So essentially a turn in Magic is untap, upkeep, draw. Don't really worry about all that. Just know that you draw first, essentially. You untap anything that's tapped, you draw, and then you have your main phase 1, which is when you can play sorceries, lands, instants, trigger abilities, anything you want to do. Then you have your combat, main phase 2, and then end phase. And combat is broken down into attack, attack, block, and then damage. It all sounds really complicated. Arena does a lot of it for you, so you don't have to worry too much about it. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and pay another 3 to draw another card. Wasn't really anything I wanted. Just too bad. She's playing another thing with lifelink. I guess it is also important that I go ahead and say this. So the objective, like I said, I would hope that you've played through the tutorials by now. The objective of Magic is to essentially get your opponent down to 0 life. There are other ways to win, but that is obviously the most common way to win. But yeah, so we're going to go ahead and tap 2 to play this 2/2 flyer. So now what flying means is I can attack essentially in the air and block anything. I can block creatures on the ground and in the air. So because she doesn't have any flyers, she can't block this creature. So it's really good for attacks. Now, because we're ending our turn with 8 cards in hand, we have to discard 1. I'm discarding one of those enchantments. I really don't need it. Alright. I really need some land, though. That would be nice. Go ahead. Really? That's really not cool. We're going to have to discard 2, I believe. I don't want to destroy my own creatures, so... discard that, and I guess just discard both of them. Really sucks, but whatever. Okay, so they're attacking each other like they probably should. Honestly, I didn't even really think about that. Leaving myself. So that's actually a good teaching moment, though. So when you attack, you cannot block. When you attack, you tap yourself, and when you're tapped, you can't block. So because I attacked with my Silverbeak Griffin, she was able to attack with everything.
Whoa!
I'm really getting tired of not
Thought I saw something.
getting a land. Okay, there we go. Awesome. What do I want to get? I'm going to play this, Pegasus Courser. So it has flying as well, and it also has an ability. Whenever Pegasus Courser attacks, another target attacking creature gains flying until end of turn. This can be really good against decks that don't really have much answers to flying, which are honestly a lot of decks. Not to say that, you know, especially the higher level you go with Magic, decks are normally going to have answers to good creatures, and flying creatures are normally good creatures, but ooh, what are you going to hit with this? Okay. But it is to say that especially in little practice mode, most you know, practice decks aren't going to have answers for flyers. At least not that much. Anyway, okay, so we're going to play Leonin. I hope I'm pronouncing Leonin War Leader. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. So whenever he attacks, so he's a 4/4 for 4 mana. 4 power, 4 toughness for 4 mana, which is already pretty good. But then whenever he attacks, create 2 1/1 white cat creature tokens that are also that are tapped and attacking and have lifelink. So lifelink says that if you basically whatever damage you deal, you gain that in life, which is really nice because it doesn't have to be direct damage either. It can be damage to creature, direct damage, it can be anything. So that's pretty nice. So we're going to go ahead and pay 3 mana to draw a card. Really looking for a plains. Didn't get one. So the cool thing here is that I can attack with my Pegasus and my War Leader, which will trigger my Pegasus's ability. So I'm going to trigger that to give my War Leader flying. So now nothing he has can block it. So look at this board state now. I have a 4/4 and a 1/3 that are flying in the air. So that's 5 damage it's going to get through. And then I'm essentially just gaining 2 life.
Keep with it. Doing great.
I am actually going to go ahead and play Tactical Advantage. So this is an instant card. An instant card is something you can essentially play any time as long as you have the mana. So we're talking about the stages of combat. We have attacks, which is what I did, that triggered those abilities. Blocks, which is what she did. So in Magic, you don't have to block with anything. You can just take all the damage you want. But she did because she thought that it was going to be in her favor to do so. Because it's just 2 1/1s. She can kill both of them. But after she blocked, before damage, I'm playing an instant for target blocking or blocked creature you control gets +2/+2 until end of turn. To do it on this one.
But I hope you
so now, after you submit attackers and submit blocks, you cannot go back on it. So she can't just say now, oh, well, I take it back, I don't block with him. No, it's set in stone. It's going to happen. So she's going to block, and, ooh, okay, so she is playing her own Tactical Advantage. Now, this is really silly, but it can show you guys the stack. So I'm going to play another Tactical Advantage. So, this is what's going to happen. The stack is essentially what happens when we have a little instant back and forth war like we just did. So, I attack, she blocks, that's set in stone. I play Tactical Advantage as a combat trick, essentially, to give my creature +2/+2. And then she, in response,
Anything
plays
better?
her combat trick to give +2/+2 to her creature. But in response to that, I give my creature +2/+2 more. So, it's last to be played is first to be resolved, right? So I'm gonna pay my mana, 1 mana, and then that's going to resolve first, making it a 3/3. Then that's going to oh, wait. Oh, that was silly. I actually don't know. Okay, so I wasn't paying attention to that, but whatever, that's fine. So my last spell resolved first, making it a 3/3. Then her spell resolved, making her a 3/4, I guess, on the cat for some reason. And then my first spell resolved, making this a 5/5. This can be really important when playing against certain archetypes, like red, like burn, to kind of give your creature a little more power, or I'm sorry, a little more toughness to survive some of their removal. So we're looking really good here. We have a lot of flying. We have just a lot of creatures in general. Gonna go ahead and draw a card, looking for a land and get one. Play another Arcane Encyclopedia to start hopefully drawing 2 cards next turn. I probably won't need it, and this is why, because we're gonna attack with all 4. So remember, our abilities will trigger. I'm gonna give my War Leader flying, and then my War Leader is gonna create 2 more attacking 1/1 cat tokens. So that's fine that they all die because I still get lifelink. Remember, no matter what the damage is, if it's to creatures or players, I gain the life. So it's gonna be her turn again. Let's see what she does. Plays another land. Okay, so she's attacking 3/3. That's fine. We're gaining a good little bit of life. I don't really care. Let's go ahead and draw a card. Really. I'm taking a risk here, but I want to draw 1 more card, hoping for a land. Good job. Playing my land per turn. Playing a Healer's Hawk for 1 mana. And then playing another Healer's Hawk for 1 mana. And now I don't have to discard anything, and all attacks. Our abilities will trigger. I'm going to give the War Leader flying. And create 2 1/1 tokens lifelink. And next turn we should win. Pretty much regardless of what she does. Alright. No blocks, I really don't care. I'll take that 3 damage. Alright, let's see here. I could destroy her creature just to do it, but I'm not going to. Another one of those. Really? That sucks. Oh well. Doesn't really matter. I'm going to win this turn anyway. We're going to attack all out. Our abilities will trigger. I'm going to do that first, and then War Leader second. And there we go. That's a win.
What to play again?
I hope that was informative. If you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the comments. I can make a follow-up video, maybe a little more in-depth, maybe a little more specific of a video, like if there's one aspect of the game you're not quite getting. Of course, YouTube is full of other tutorials that will help you out on it. And next, we're going to be going over kind of deck building. So I'm pretty excited about that, because then we can get some games in with some of the decks that I have built, which is exciting. So stay tuned, and we'll see you next time.